Play. A little bit of country music behind us here. Welcome tonight to Be for Ladies and Start for the college football report with Florida College Football Report here on North Florida Sports Talk Network. Marty Pallman, there's Corey Davis across from me. We're back on two computers, so that's good. Another big week in college football last week, and another big week coming ahead this week, including, of course, the Florida-Georgia game in Jacksonville, right up the road from us here in Stark. We're located across from Bradford High School and US 301 in Stark at B4 Brady's. We just had our high school football report, and next week we will bring the college football report to you on Thursday at 9 o'clock. We'll have a special edition of the high school report at 7:30 next week as they announce the pairings there. But we still got a month left in the college season. Still lots of time to go here. And Corey, another interesting week. Really, I don't think there were a lot of real surprises other than if you're surprised Vanderbilt beat Missouri, but Vanderbilt's beating everybody now. I mean, this has become kind of a regular thing.
Yeah, I talked to one of my good friends, Brent Bear, the other day, who does college football, and you see him on, locally around Jacksonville talking college football.
Yeah.
How's it going, guys?
Hey guys, what's up, guys?
So
We need to have him on. That's who I need to get.
I said to him, is it too early to have scenarios for the ACC, the SEC?
I guess not.
Well, yeah, it kind of is. And I was like, well, maybe that's the reason why you don't see them anywhere. I had to do my own scenarios. So that's the crazy part is we only got 5 weeks left, and nobody's clinched anything yet, although we're getting closer. Still, 5 weeks left in the season, which will settle a lot of things.
Well, it's not always a lot decided in October, but you're right. Usually by the 1st of November, we can start to see these things.
I remember one year Georgia or Florida clinched the Eastern Division after the Florida-Georgia game.
Yeah, that's happened a few times. Alabama did that one year, I think, at the beginning of November, too, a few times. Yeah, and that's what happens now not having divisions. Like you said, you're not going to have this. You're going to have this come down to the last weekend. I mean, you're not going to know until the final weekend of play who's playing because it's the two top teams in each league now that play. But we'll talk about the ACC and the SEC a little bit in that instance, too. Also, more firings. Last week we talked Florida.
This week almost waited a week.
And it's another big one, LSU. How about that? And Brian Kelly, I didn't think he would – I thought he'd probably make it to the end of the season. But, again, as we see this year in college football, there's nothing nothing is sacred. James Franklin's fired after losing 3 straight games at Penn State. Billy Napier got the heave-ho in the middle of the season at Florida, which I think may have been deserved. And now you got Brian Kelly, who had lost 3 of his last 4. They were leading Texas A&M at halftime on Saturday night. Next thing you know, they're down 27 points in the fourth quarter in Death Valley on Saturday night. That is not a normal thing to see for LSU.
And I think that was the issue, was not the fact that they lost. It was how they lost.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if they were lost by 3 points, he probably doesn't get fired.
I don't think so either. And the thing is, they played Ole Miss close. Lost. That was one of their losses. Who was the other? They lost to Vanderbilt. But they had lost the last 2 games. But, yeah, Brian Kelly, I don't think he ever really fit at LSU. I don't think LSU fans ever really thought he fit. He didn't get them to the playoff in 4 years. 34-14, not a bad record, but no SEC titles, no I think he had 1 appearance in the SEC championship in his first year, and Georgia blew them out. So another job open that we'll talk about. But let's start With a look at some other stories going on college football. So long, it says. On Thursday, the SEC suspended referee Ken Williamson for the rest of the season. I heard this. It's interesting. After several missed calls were discovered in the Auburn-Georgia game. Corey and I talked about this a few weeks ago. Williamson was the crew chief for the game that featured several controversial calls, including the goal line stand that Auburn appeared to have scored on, and also a targeting call on Auburn's Kalen Lee. I didn't see the targeting call. I definitely saw the goal line stand, the fumble they called. And by the way, again, that was a game where Auburn was up 10-0. They would have been up 17-0. And instead, Georgia goes down, kicks a field goal. It's 10-3, and then Georgia winning 20-10. They turned that game around completely. Auburn was dominating up to that point, and it's kind of the season Auburn's had. Although they finally got an SEC win, but yeah, the officials really got in the middle of that game.
I said it a couple weeks ago, and I'll say it again. If they get down 17-0, I don't think they come back.
I don't either. I agree completely, and that's why I think they had to do something about those officials. I didn't think they would suspend them for the rest of the season, but the SEC did do that. I figured maybe a few weeks. But, that's what they decided. So they're done. That crew is done. That referee – I'm sorry, the referee's done. I don't think the crew is done.
It was just a crew chief.
Just the crew chief, yeah, the referee. Yeah. So he will not be
but I've never heard of this. I've heard of a referee getting suspended X amount of games. But to say, hey, you're done the rest of the year.
Yeah, right. I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm surprised about that. But that's what the SEC decided to do. They decided it was egregious enough that they needed to take him out for the rest of the year. So Ken Williamson is suspended for the rest of the season. Meanwhile, more pig slips. Just when we thought we might go a week without firing, LSU fired Brian Kelly in his fourth year, going 34-14, national title aspirations to start the season, and a win on the road at Clemson. And many pointing to a huge year for the Tigers that it wasn't meant to be. Nope. And now the question is, will Lane Kiffin go to Florida or LSU? I think LSU is going to be in the mix for him now, along with other coaches. So now Florida's got some challengers there, along with Penn State. Penn State job is open as well.
But here's the thing. Every single week we're seeing coaches fired. So someone else is going to get fired next week or this weekend.
You would hope not, but you never know. I mean,
USC might fire Lincoln Riley because they lost.
Also Notre Dame. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
just throwing a coach out there, but
I mean, you're right. It can happen. I guess it's not a.
This year, it's so unpredictable. We've had so many firings, especially big Power 4 schools.
Well, and my thought was if Auburn didn't beat Arkansas last week, Hugh Freeze may have gotten canned, and he might still. But they finally got an SEC win. Did Auburn against Arkansas? So, but yeah, I can see that coming there as well.
So when people talk about we have a guy at work that always, hey, what's the latest on the floor? Like, it's not going to be anything until January, because coaches are getting fired left and right.
It depends on who they hire. I mean, if they're going to wait on Lane Kiffin, it's probably going to be January. You're right, because Ole Miss is most likely going to be in the playoff. Now they can negotiate behind the scenes and keep it secret and all. But you're right. The only person that's going to know right now is Scott Strickland and the Florida Boosters, what's going on there, and mostly Scott Strickland. And speaking of LSU, today the governor of Louisiana had a press conference, Jeff Landry, and he said that their AD, Scott Woodward, would not be picking the next head coach. He said that they would put a committee together, the Board of Trustees of Louisiana. And the reason for this is this AD is kind of like Scott Strickland, Scott Woodward. He's hired 2 coaches now that have been fired. They had to pay Ed Orgeron like $20-some million. They're paying Brian Kelly $54 million. And so for that reason, the governor's like, he's not going to pick our coach. We're going to figure another way. Florida's not doing that.
I saw a story, I think it was CBS Sports or someone like that, ESPN, said after the LSU firing, colleges owe the firing coaches over $160 million.
I believe it. And Billy Napier's was only about $20 million. But, yeah, I believe it. I mean, and that's the other thing. If FSU decides to can Mike Norvell, that's going to be about $50 million. He's right in that area, too. So, yeah, James Franklin's buyout was, what, $30 million, $40 million? It was a lot. Yeah, they're paying these coaches a lot of money to not coach. And I'll have the story I heard about Brian Kelly was he showed up Sunday morning at the LSU football offices, and his key card didn't work. At that point, I might have wondered if I had a job anymore.
Oh,
apparently, as that Sunday went on, that became more and more of a reality. But
he knew
I think he did too.
Saturday night
I think he did.
because the AD went and talked to him immediately after the game.
Oh, he
He
did.
knew right away he was getting
He
fired.
told him after the game. Yeah, I think. I
Oh yeah,
think
it was live on TV.
on the field. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that a lot of us knew after that game. But yeah, that was what happened. Sundays have become a popular day to fire coaches too, right? Days after games.
yeah.
Napier went the week before. It was James Franklin about 3 weeks ago. Yeah, it's been um, Sundays have become bad days for college coaches. So now you got LSU, Florida, Penn State, Oklahoma State's open. Mike Gundy was fired
Arkansas,
ago. Arkansas with Sam
Oregon
Pittman.
State,
Who?
Stanford, Oregon State,
Oregon
Stanford,
State, Stanford. Virginia Tech has an interim coach.
yeah.
Stanford,
UCLA.
UCLA, who's been playing a lot better
Those are the
since.
first two. Was UCLA and Virginia Tech.
Stanford has an interim coach. Frank Reich's their interim coach, yeah, but that's right. So yeah, a lot of jobs open. We're gonna have more probably as the season goes on. All right. So let's see. Bowl bound. Kennesaw State is the most recent team to become bowl eligible. Congratulations, the Owls. For the first time in program history, they're going to have a bowl bid. They beat UTEP 33-20. That was last night, Tuesday night. Yeah,
Last night. Yeah.
because we were here Monday last week.
Yeah.
There've been a lot of games since then. Other teams becoming bowl eligible this past Saturday: Troy, Fresno State, TCU, San Diego State, and Utah. Utah was just destroyed Colorado on Saturday. 35 of 68 slots were right at the halfway point of 68 bowl slots being filled. Now 35. In the American, we got 5. Memphis, good comeback win for them against USF. Boy, it looked like USF was pulling away. Memphis rallied to win that game. So that puts USF in some trouble now for making the playoff, I would say. But
Horns down.
the 5 teams, one's down.
Yeah. South Florida Bulls.
Oh, the Bulls, yeah. Memphis, Navy, Tulane, North Texas, and USF are, I think Navy's still unbeaten for the American. 5 from the ACC, Georgia Tech still undefeated as they hammered Syracuse. Virginia, boy, they had to work to beat North Carolina in OT. North Carolina finally looked like a team under Bill Belichick, but Virginia was able to win. They stay unbeaten. Pitt, they only have one loss to this point. They struggled a bit against BC, but they won. Or no, Louisville beat BC. They struggled a bit against Boston College. Miami had no problem with Stanford coming back from that loss to Louisville. And Pitt, who did Pitt beat?
They kicked the crap out of NC State.
NC State. Yeah, NC State's really been struggling. That's where Georgia Tech goes this week. 7 in the Big Ten already. 7 bowl teams. Ohio State, Indiana, unbeaten. Oregon with 1 loss. Nebraska, Iowa, Washington, who beat Illinois last week, and Michigan, who won at Michigan State on Saturday night. So you got 7 teams in the Big Ten, 5 in the Big 12. Texas Tech, BYU staying unbeaten, goes to Iowa State and wins. Houston, they win at Arizona State. Cincinnati, they stay unbeaten in the conference. TCU and Utah, as we said. The SEC, we already have 9 teams bowl eligible in the SEC. Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Georgia, Alabama, Missouri, Texas, and Tennessee. 3 in the Sun Belt: James Madison, Southern Miss, and Troy, and 1 from the Conference USA, Western Kentucky. That's it.
Yeah, like you said, we're already halfway there. We already have half the bowls, and I did see this discussed too that normally the Bahamas Bowl would make it 70, but they decided due to more construction on their stadium, they're not having a bowl game this year, so that's why it's 68 as opposed to normally 70. In the ACC, wow, this game was Friday night. We don't know which Hokie team's going to show up. You know, they beat Cal 42-34.
That was a really good game, but Cal was pretty good. What we're seeing, but yeah, Virginia Tech big comeback there at home. You're right. They were getting blown out by Cal. So Virginia Tech's still only 3-5 and 2-2. Cal falls to 5-3 and 2-2, but they beat them in double OT 42-34. So that was Cal had a chance to win the game, missed a field goal on the last play, and Virginia Tech ended up winning in double OT. So good win for the Hokies. Georgia Tech, no problem with Syracuse, 41-16. The Yellow Jackets ranked 7th or 8-0 and 5-0. 8-0 for the first time since 1966 when Bobby Dodd was the coach. And 7-0-1 they were in 1990. They had a tie in 1990 with North Carolina, the last time they won a national title. And they're 5-0 in ACC for the first time since they joined the ACC in 1978, I believe. Haynes King, why are we talking about this guy as a Heisman candidate? I mean, 25 of 34, 304 yards, 3 touchdowns, 12 carries, 91 yards, and 2 scores. And yet I don't see him on a Heisman list anywhere. I don't get it, because this guy almost single-handedly is leading this team to an undefeated season. But he's been something.
Maybe because the schedule hasn't been that great.
Well, you're right. I mean, if you look at it right now, if they beat Georgia late in the year, then you got a really quality win on there. But right now, I'd say your biggest win is Duke, probably.
Yeah, Duke.
Yeah.
But by the time they play Georgia, most people probably turned in their Heisman ballots.
That's true, because it's the week before it's 2 weeks before Thanksgiving.
The Georgia game is right after Thanksgiving.
So the next week is the championship week, then the Heisman's are the following week.
Yeah.
So I think you still have some time to do it. But yeah, I'll take a look at that as well. Not really sure who we would consider the favorite at this point. I know we're no longer talking about Nussmeier and Arch Manning and Cade Klubnik, so I don't know who we'll see as a favorite now. Virginia, they survived 17-16 in North Carolina. North Carolina in overtime goes for 2, came up a yard short. They fall to 2-5 and 0-3. Number 16, Virginia goes to 7-1 and 4-0, so they get away with a win. Them and Georgia Tech are still the only unbeaten teams in the ACC. Virginia, North Carolina was tough in this game, coming off a bye and a loss to Cal. So they looked better, but still couldn't get the win at home. SMU, this was a surprise. They finally lose an ACC game. Wake Forest 13-12. Hail Mary. I didn't realize this. A 50-yard field goal, walk-off field goal to beat SMU.
He caught it. They called a timeout, and then they lined up for a field goal.
Wow. Wake Forest 5-2 and 2-2 in the ACC. SMU goes to 5-3 and 3-1. Again, that's their first conference loss in 21 games. That goes back to the American, when they were in the American Conference, because they won all their games in the ACC last year in their first year, and the first 3 this year. Pitt pounds NC State 53-34. As you say, the Sleeping Giant Panthers, they're pretty good, 6-2 and 4-1 in the ACC. They've won at FSU. I'm not sure who their loss was to, but they played Georgia Tech in like 3 weeks, and they still have a game with Miami. Pitt does. And they got Notre Dame coming in, not an ACC game, but I'm not sure. I got to see who their loss was to, but so they got a chance to really be a part of that ACC race coming in. Miami rebounds from the loss to Louisville, blows out Stanford 42-7. They trailed 7-0 into the first quarter. Kind of a slow start for the ninth-ranked Hurricanes. Carson Beck 21-28, 189 yards and a touchdown. Miami 6-1 and 2-1, ranked 9th, and they beat Stanford easily in South Florida.
I was surprised they trailed that game, actually.
Yeah,
they were down 7-0.
I think at SMU this week, so that'll be another big ball game for them. Their schedule, see, they got SMU, Syracuse, NC State, Virginia Tech. That's not bad. And then Pitt. SMU and Pitt are the toughest games left for them. And they got those mostly home games. Looks like they're at SMU, at Virginia Tech, at Pitt. So they got 2 home games.
3 of the 5 are on the road.
Yeah. But those are Syracuse, NC State, and I'm sorry, SMU, Virginia Tech, and Pitt. Yeah, that's not bad. Louisville, they pull away late to beat Boston College 38-24. The Cardinals still in the middle of it. They're 6-1 and 3-1 in the conference. Number 19, Louisville beat Miami the week before. They're 21-10 at the half, win 38-24. BC's at the bottom of the ACC, 1-7 and 0-5. And Louisville's another one. They have at Virginia Tech, Cal, Clemson at home, at SMU. So not bad for them down the stretch. And they close with Kentucky, who's also not very good. So,
well, and this is we talked about by not having divisional play. You've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams with less than 1 loss in the ACC, and teams like Miami and Louisville, Georgia Tech and Virginia avoid both teams.
yeah.
So it's really Georgia Tech and Virginia's race to get to Charlotte. Miami and Louisville and Pitt and SMU and even Duke all need help to get to Charlotte because they're going to need one or two of those teams to
Yeah,
lose for them
right.
to get there.
Yeah, they are. So, and again, what happens when we don't have divisions? This kind of shows you that as well. All right, so that's the ACC. The SEC, this was the game of the week I thought it would be. Ole Miss 34-26 at Oklahoma. This went back and forth. Number 8 Ole Miss 7-1 and 4-1. They were ahead, fell behind, came back, took the lead in the fourth quarter, win in Norman. Oklahoma falls to 6-2 and 2-2. They're still ranked 13th. Big win for Ole Miss there. And looking at their schedule with now South Carolina, the Citadel, and Florida at home, and then at Mississippi State, I think this team's headed to the playoff. I mean, they might win the SEC. They are right now 4-1. It came back of Florida, Texas A&M, and Alabama, who don't play each other.
Yeah, there's no reason why they won't lose to South Carolina or Citadel. That puts them at 9-1 with only Florida and Mississippi State left.
Yeah.
The game with Florida is
It's home.
They
got 3 home games in a row. And then they go to Starkville. And Mississippi State's been tough, but they can't win. I mean, we'll talk about that Texas game in a minute, but Mississippi State can't win a game, it seems like. Ole Miss, that's a big win at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's now dropped a couple in a row. So you've got A&M and Bama at 5-0. They don't. It's too bad A&M and Bama don't play each other, and Ole Miss doesn't play Bama or A&M either. That's what's kind of crappy about the schedule. And Georgia's lost to Alabama, beat Ole Miss. They don't play A&M, so yeah. But we'll talk about Georgia. They're 4-1. They were off last week. Auburn, they get a win, their first SEC win, 33-24 at Arkansas. Auburn goes to 4-4 and 1-4. They were down 24-16, 17 unanswered fourth quarter points, and Arkansas falls to the bottom of the SEC at 2-6 and 0-4 under Bobby Petrino, the interim coach there. Auburn wins at Arkansas. Alabama, boy, South Carolina gave them a game. In the fourth quarter, Alabama, though, when they needed to, they scored, tied the game, and then they came back, got a touchdown late. South Carolina fumbled. North Sellers fumbled the ball. And Alabama goes to 7-1, 5-0 in the SEC. They win 29-22 with 2 scores late. South Carolina now 3-5 and 1-5. They're going to struggle to make a bowl game at this point. Are the Gamecocks? It's been a tough year for them.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for them to get to a bowl. Not sure who they have left, but they only got 4 games left, and they have to win at least 3 of those.
They've got Ole Miss. I know that's one of them. Oh, they've got A&M. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, it's not an easy schedule. I can see Ole Miss and A&M on there. So, yeah, they're not going to win either of those games. So it's like those are both on the road too. So, yeah, I don't see them. They got Clemson to end the season, which they could win this year. But Alabama needed a win, and now they get a bye week, and then their schedule, they get 3 straight home games. LSU, who's coming in with an interim coach, Oklahoma, who's kind of falling down, and Eastern Illinois. Then you close at Auburn, who's been struggling all year. Auburn will be tough, though. They usually are in that game to end the season. But Alabama tied for the lead in the SEC. Vanderbilt beats Missouri 17-10. This was a 3-3 game going into the fourth quarter. And Vandy was able to get a touchdown late to beat Missouri. Vandy now 7-1, 3-1 in the SEC. Ranked number 10. Missouri falls to 6-2 and 2-2. Missouri hit a Hail Mary on the last play that was caught at maybe the half-yard line. I was watching that live. I thought, I didn't know he caught that. And then the replay is like, he caught that just short of the goal line.
And they took a long time looking at that video to make sure he didn't score.
Yeah, they did, and he did not. It was close.
And I heard the officials say that is the most Vanderbilt way to lose the game.
It would be. That would be. You're right. Even now, Vanderbilt, that would be. Vanderbilt hosted ESPN Game Day for the first time since 2008. I didn't know they hosted in 2008. I thought that was the first time they had hosted it. But
against Auburn, would that have been Cam Newton?
No, that was before Cam Newton. He was like 2010. I don't know. I'd have to look back and see what that was. But
2008, would that have been Jay Cutler? Or is that true?
No, that was, I think, right after Jay Cutler. But I think it was what's his face? Franklin was coaching him. So Vanderbilt may have been pretty good then. This game was wild. Texas down 17 in the fourth quarter. Rallies to beat Mississippi State 45-38. The Longhorns, ranked 22nd, go to 6-2 and 3-1 in the SEC. Poor Mississippi State has found more ways to lose this year. 4-4. They're 0-4 in the SEC. They lost to Tennessee in OT. They lost to Florida when they threw an interception in field goal range in the final minute. And they lose this game, which they led the whole game. And Texas gets a punt return to tie the game. They go to OT, get a touchdown. Mississippi State goes backwards, and Texas defense comes up big. So Texas see to that win. They stay a game back of A&M or Georgia, half game back of Georgia, and a game and a half behind A&M and Bama. And Texas now, huge game with Vandy coming in this week. And then they get at Georgia. So the schedule is still pretty tough for them. Then they get Arkansas, and they close at home against A&M. So a lot of big games coming up for Texas.
And I was looking at Mississippi State. They're 4-4. Looks like they obviously hold Ole Miss. They go to Missouri, and they go to Georgia.
That's who'd you say that was?
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State, right? Okay, yeah. So their schedule isn't going to get any easier, as well. Texas A&M 49-25 over LSU, as the third-ranked Aggies go to 8-0, 5-0 in the SEC. They were down 18-14 at the half. They scored 35 unanswered points. LSU got a late touchdown. LSU falls to 5-3 and now 2-3 in the SEC. And they have fallen out of the SEC race completely. And, of course, then they made a coaching change. And then this was a wild game on Saturday night. Defense was optional.
I watched this game.
Kentucky had some big plays in this game, but their defense couldn't stop Tennessee.
It was like watching Madden. It was like all I needed was a joystick because nobody could play defense.
Yeah, basically. Tennessee goes to 6-2 and 3-2. They win 56-34. Kentucky falls to 2-5. And I think they're 0-5 to win the rivalry border showdown. Kentucky's at the bottom of the SEC with Arkansas and Mississippi State right now. For Tennessee, big game. They host Oklahoma. That's a Saturday night game this week. Then it looks like New Mexico State.
Yep.
Then they go to Florida and they close with Vandy. So I have a bye week in between. So big game. This is a big game with them. They're 3-2 in the SEC with Oklahoma coming in. One of those teams probably will be eliminated from any chance at the SEC championship with a loss this week. Let's look at the SEC as we move on now to the Big Ten. And Indiana, they keep rolling. 56-6 over UCLA. Interception on the first play of the game for Indiana helped start the big win. They go to 8-0, 5-0 in the Big Ten, tied with Ohio State. And UCLA now 3-5 and 3-2. Indiana is rolling along. They are ranked number 2 now behind Ohio State. Nebraska, they are able to hold on against Northwestern 28-21. Nebraska, the Corn Huskers go to 6-2, 3-2, and they are bowl eligible and held off Northwestern. Pretty good Northwestern team is now 5-3 and 3-2. Rutgers, somebody had to get their first conference win, and Rutgers got it at Purdue 27-24. Rutgers 4-4, 1-4 in the Big Ten. Purdue 2-6, 0-5. Another win for Washington at home. They go to 6-2 and 3-2, become bowl eligible. They knock off Illinois 42-25. Washington got a 14-3 first quarter lead and defeats number 23 Illini. Illinois is up and down this year. They're now 5-3 and 2-3 in the Big Ten.
This next game surprised me a lot because I turned it on CBS. I was bored with whatever game I was watching. And I was like, Iowa, Minnesota. This should be a great game.
That was on CBS?
Yeah. Oh, wow. It was 17-0 in the first quarter, Iowa.
Iowa scored 41 points against somebody?
Yeah.
41-3 over Minnesota, yeah. So Iowa 6-2 and 4-1, as you said, shockingly led 17-0 after the first quarter. Blows out Minnesota, who now is 5-3 and 3-2. Minnesota's another team that's kind of hard to figure out. They also got blown out by Ohio State and their other loss in the Big Ten. Oregon kind of struggled in this game, 21-7 over Wisconsin in Eugene. The sixth-ranked Ducks 7-1 and now 4-1. Might have been a little bit hungover stuff in that Indiana game. Wisconsin now 2-6 and 0-5. They're at the bottom of the Big Ten with Michigan State and Purdue, both winless. But they stayed in the game for most of the game there in Eugene. And then Michigan wins at Michigan State 31-20 on Saturday night in East Lansing, Michigan. It was a tough game, but they were able to pull it out. That was the Saturday night NBC game. Justice Hayes, 152 yards and 2 touchdowns. Michigan still in that Big Ten race, 6-2 and 4-1 in the Big Ten, with their only loss right now coming to USC. Michigan State is at the bottom of the league as well. They're 3-5 and 0-5 in the Big Ten.
And Michigan holds on to, I believe it's called the Paul Bunyan Trophy.
I thought that was the Minnesota-Wisconsin Paul Bunyan's Axe or
No,
something.
that's the Axe.
I thought it was Paul Bunyan's.
Was it?
Yeah, something like that. Michigan State play for a trophy, huh?
Yeah. Well, everybody in the Big Ten plays for a trophy.
It's true. It's true. Well, Michigan State's a state rival anyway, but yeah.
All right, switching to the Big 12. The Sunflower Showdown was not much of a showdown at all. Kansas State rolls Kansas
You're
42
right.
to
It's the Paul.
17.
It's the Paul Bunyan Trophy. But what is the okay? See, now I want to know what Minnesota.
Well, you
Wisconsin.
keep looking while I keep talking.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kansas State beats Kansas for the 17th straight year. Avery Johnson threw for 231 yards and counted for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah,
Kansas
that's
State
what it
goes
is. Sorry, Minnesota Wisconsin plays for Paul Bunyan's Axe. Michigan State plays for Paul Bunyan's Trophy. Sorry, I had to look that up. Anyway, go ahead.
Kansas State goes to 4-4, 3-2
Yeah,
in the Big
that was
12.
surprising there a little bit. Kansas State
goes to 4-4, 2-3 overall.
17 straight wins for K State in that. I thought Kansas might win this game, but K State they're starting to play better. They've struggled a bit early in the year. Avery Johnson, not the former basketball player, Alabama coach, 231 yards, 4 touchdowns. BYU, I watched some of this game. Got behind early. They seem to like to do that. BYU likes to fall behind and then come back. But Iowa State suddenly has lost 3 games. They're 5-3 and 2-3. BYU ranked 11th, 8-0, 5-0 in the Big 12. Comes back from down 17-7 to win 41-27 at Iowa State. I don't see the Cougars losing anytime soon, honestly, but they're rolling right now. Texas Tech.
Is it 1984 all over again?
God, that's right. National champs that year, BYU. They won the Holiday Bowl over Michigan. They were the national champs. That year, Florida was on probation.
Robbie
Bosco.
Bosco, yeah.
That's right. Texas Tech all over Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's terrible. 42-0. Red Raiders 7-1 and 4-1. We're up 21-0 in the first, 28-0 in the half. Oklahoma State 1-7, 0-5. Cincinnati, no problem with Baylor. Cincinnati remains unbeaten. They're right there in the Big 12 with BYU as they beat Baylor 41-20. Cincinnati led 14-0, 24-6 of the half. They're now 7-1, and Baylor falls to 4-4 and 2-3. Bearcats ranked 21st. TCU, they have to come back and beat West Virginia 23-17. They get bowl eligible. Josh Hoover throwing a touchdown pass. Nate McCatchen 3 field goals. TCU goes to 6-2, 3-2. West Virginia, they're at the bottom of Big 12 along with Oklahoma State now as they fall to 2-6 and 0-5 in the conference. Houston wins at Arizona State 24-16. Again, Sam Levitt gets hurt. Arizona State has to play Jeff Sims, which also didn't help as Arizona State shut out to the fourth quarter. They did come back to make it a close game, but Houston wins 24-16. Houston 7-1, still 4-1 in the conference. Arizona State now 5-3 and 3-2. They're ranked 24th. And Utah 53-7. They were up 46-0 in the third quarter over Colorado. Utah gets bowl eligible 6-2 and 3-2 now.
Hey, Marty, they scored again.
They just scored, and hey, look, scored again. As Colorado falls to 3-5, 1-4. Did I hear there's some people want Dion gone now, maybe in Boulder?
Probably so.
I mean, after the year they had last year, they had a whole different team this year. But you lost a Heisman winner, you lost your starting quarterback, But
See, he probably should have left, but he got greedy and stayed, and now it's going to cost him a big boy job.
I don't know who's going to hire him. I don't know.
Well, there were rumors that he was going to Florida State.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, that makes sense, maybe. But anyway, so Utah beats Colorado 53-7. All right, other scores. We mentioned this one earlier in the American Conference. Memphis 34-31 for South Florida. USF had a 17-point lead. This is a game that Marty had South Florida and Corey had Memphis, so this would have helped. But USF ranked 18th, had a 31-14 lead at the end of the third quarter. Memphis scores 20 straight points, and Nico Gramatica misses a 52-yard field goal, hooking it left. South Florida falls to 6-2, 3-1. Memphis now 7-1 and 3-1, but Memphis has a tiebreaker now with USF. And I heard there was some strange coaching decisions there by Alex Golish at the end of that game for USF. But they got a penalty. They decided to throw the ball, got a holding call that backed up the field goal. So, well, that means the Gator fans I know don't want to hire him. But anyway, they don't want to Golish. But North Texas, they keep rolling. North Texas is still right in the race in the American, 7-1 and 3-1. Their only loss coming to USF. They beat Charlotte 54-20 for being in contention in the American. Boise State stays on top of the Mountain West. No trouble there with Nevada winning 24-3. Boise State goes to 6-2 and 4-0. San Diego State is also right there as they beat Fresno State 23-0. That's actually San Diego State unbeaten still in the Mountain West. They're 6-1 overall, 3-0 in the conference. Fresno State falls to 5-3 and 2-2. Lucky Shelton, great name, 131 yards and a touchdown for the Aztecs. Aztecs are one of my favorite names too in college football. So that's a look at last week's highlights, and take a look at this week's games. Again, we're here on Wednesday, so we've already had 2 games on Tuesday. James Madison hammering Texas State 52-20 last night, and it was Kennesaw State becoming bowl eligible for the first time in school history as they beat UTEP 33-20. So good job by the Owls there, getting bowl eligible. Tonight's games, I saw this game on the other room. Jacksonville State and Middle Tennessee are playing on ESPN2. And
I swear Middle Tennessee is playing every game during the week. I wonder when the last time they played a Saturday game was. Just like Missouri State.
Well, see, that's the thing. Every week ESPN calls and you're like, hey, we'll put you on TV, but you're going to have to play on Wednesday. Okay, sure. I mean, they're going to say yes to that, I guess, and that's why you're right. They don't play a lot of Saturday games, except earlier in the season. FIU and Missouri State tonight as well. Missouri State seems like they play a lot of these games in the middle of the week. That's on CBS Sportsnet. Tomorrow night, 2 games. Marshall at Coastal Carolina. It's a 7:30 game on ESPN2. That should be a pretty good matchup there. And that is that's a conference game, right? Conference USA?
USA or American, one of those. Yeah.
I don't think it's American. Yeah, I don't know. Something like that. Tulane is on the road against UTSA, Texas San Antonio at 7:30 tomorrow night at ESPN. Friday,
the Roadrunners.
Roadrunners, exactly.
Me.
That'll be Friday night or Thursday night. Friday night, we've got 5 games starting in the Ivy League. Brown and Penn will play at 7 o'clock on ESPNU. Memphis, coming off the win over USF, travels to Houston to take on the Rice Owls, 7 o'clock on ESPN2. 2 teams that really need a win, North Carolina and Syracuse, will play in the Carrier Dome, 7:30. I guess North Carolina plays almost every game on Friday this year, too, for some reason. At Syracuse, again, that's 7:30 ESPN. CBS Sportsnet will have Sam Houston and Louisiana Tech at 8 o'clock. And then a late one, 10:30 on ESPN2. The Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks, hosting the Vandals of Idaho.
I'm impressed you knew that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Flagstaff, Arizona. Northern Arizona hosts Idaho Vandals. I love both those names. 10:30 on ESPN2. That'll be Friday night. And that leads us to Saturday. We'll have the first of the Service Academy games starting the day. CBS always
By the way, they have a triple header that day.
CBS?
Yeah.
Well, it starts with Army and Air Force at noon. That'll be at Air Force. Army, by the way, I think is either unbeaten or only has 1 loss, kind of like Navy. They're heading for a big game with Navy later in the year. Air Force is kind of struggling. Noon on the ACC Network, Duke at Clemson. Can Clemson finally get an ACC win? And one at home, no less, as they host the Duke Blue Devils, who have been playing pretty well. This game was supposed to be a huge game. The big season began. The big noon Saturday game on Fox. Ohio State hosting Penn State. Ohio State's now a 20-point favorite at home because, well, we know what Penn State's been going through. How the mighty have fallen there quickly. Ohio State probably. Watch Penn State play them tough though. Somehow I don't know, but that's Penn State, Ohio State at noon on Fox. This will be a good game at ESPN at noon. Miami at SMU. SMU back home after their loss to Wake Forest. Miami haven't hit the road, which they haven't.
That'll be essentially will be
Florida this year.
Loser of that game was probably eliminated from the ACC title.
Yeah, that's the first time Miami's left the state of Florida this year, coming up at SMU. And they do at Virginia Tech at Pitt. So the last 2 games they do leave the state, but they have not left Florida. They've only had the 1 road game at FSU to this point. So speaking of Navy, they'll be at North Texas. That's going to be a good ball game. Noon on ESPN too. That's a conference matchup as well. Rutgers in Illinois, noon on NBC. So NBC has a triple header or double. It's a noon NBC.
Double header.
Rutgers at Illinois. ABC, Vanderbilt at Texas. Well, how's Vanderbilt always on at noon? It seems like, the last week was 3:30. They played Missouri, but so that'll be 11 a.m. Central start in Austin between Vanderbilt and Texas. Your TNT game of the week in the Big 12, Arizona State at Iowa State at 1 o'clock. CW game of the week, Louisville at Virginia Tech at 3. Georgia, Florida, that'll be 3:30. I keep thinking this game's on CBS. It's now on ABC. Georgia and Florida, 3:30 ABC. Your second CBS game, Indiana at Maryland. It's going to maybe get ugly for the Terps, 3:30 on CBS, part of that triple header.
Mm-hmm.
Pitt will travel to Stanford at 3:30 Eastern start, ACC Network.
Which
Notre
means
Dame,
that's a 12:30 game
12:30 Pacific
in California.
Yeah. Okay. That was what was funny the other night about the 18-inning World Series game on Monday. Is that I kept hearing people that were at the game go, we were there till midnight. I'm like, yeah, I was watching it till 3 a.m. people. You know, whatever. It's only midnight in the West Coast when that game ended. It's still kind of early for you guys. It was almost 3 a.m. on the East Coast. But 12:30 is not a terrible start. So,
No.
But I remember they used to be, sometimes they'd play like 12:30, 1 o'clock games out west. So it'd be like a 10 a.m. start. But Notre Dame goes to BC, 3:30 on ESPN. That'll be at BC. As Notre Dame continues their ACC schedule. Virginia to Cal, 3:45. Strange start time, ESPN2. Somebody's got to win an SEC game. Mississippi State and Arkansas, 4 o'clock on SEC Network. South Carolina does not get any easier for them. They'll head to Ole Miss Saturday night, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Kentucky and Auburn. Auburn got their first SEC win. Kentucky's looking for their first. They'll play at 7:30 on SEC Network. Big ball game in the Big Ten, another NBC game on Saturday night. USC and Nebraska, 7:30.
That's called a triple header or double header for them.
Yeah, doubleheader. No 3:30 game now. CBS, though, as you said, as they will. We'll talk about that game in a moment. Wake Forest and FSU. FSU after the bye week, trying to end their losing streak. 7:30 on the ACC Network. Georgia Tech at NC State. That'll be a 7:30 kickoff.
Finally, not a noon game.
I know. I swear they played Syracuse at noon, Duke at noon, Wake Forest at noon. So it's like Clemson at noon. They play almost every game at noon. It seems like this is a night game, and NC State's struggling. So Georgia Tech will be on the road Saturday night. Big game in the SEC, the ABC Saturday night game, Oklahoma and Tennessee in Knoxville. Again, those teams with 2 losses. The loser probably is out of the SEC race, most likely. And 7:30 on CBS, the 2 teams that don't have a conference, Washington State and Oregon State will play. And Oregon State is having a tough year. Washington State is not great either. So that's an interesting game for them to carry on Saturday night, but they don't have a conference. So I get it. And finally, this will be a good ball game. 10:15 on ESPN. Gotta love Utah always playing these late games. This week, Cincinnati comes in, and they're unbeaten. And
that's where game day is going to be.
At Utah.
Yeah,
big ball game. Utah with only that 1 loss in the conference so far. Okay, so that's a look at this week's game. So, by the way, again, we're at Beef O'Brady's, located on US 301 here in Stark. Don't forget the triple meal deal starting at $10.99. A starter meal and 5s and a pound drink or iced tea. You can also add chips and salsa, house or Caesar salad. $10.99, $13.99, and $16.99. They're nightly specials here. Tonight it's Wednesday, so they have Wing Wednesdays, 99 cents each, traditional, a BOGO free boneless. Thursdays are stakeout Thursdays. Friday, fish and chip Fridays. Saturdays, cheeseburger and wings Saturday. Kids combo on Sundays for $1.99. Mondays are $7.99 Burger Mondays, and then $7.99 Ultimate Taco Tuesdays here. 40 years of beef located here on US 301 at Stark. All right. And we thank them for allowing us to do this show from the back room here, the party room at Beef O'Brady's. Okay, so let's take a look at our picks for this week. And Corey, let's go over the results from last week.
I'm doing this off of memory because I left that notebook at home, but whereas you went perfect in high school, I was 2 games behind you, which you lead by 11. College, I won, I believe, by 1 game. So now I am down 2 games to you.
Oh, you won by 1?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm 1 or 2 games behind you now in college. I think you were like 14-8. I think I was 13 and
7,
something like that. Yeah,
around. You don't have the.
No, I don't have the notebook in front of me.
All right, that's fine.
But I know you still lead, and I know I won college. You won high school this past week.
Okay, it's a lot closer. The college
You have
picks are closer.
a
Man.
1 or 2 game lead.
Yeah,
in
that one's been
college.
close throughout pretty much. And
All right. So with that said, our picks for this week.
yep, we'll start with North Carolina and Syracuse. Corey will start these this week.
Well, 2 teams you really don't trust, but you know what? I trust Syracuse a lot more.
Yeah, I can't pick North Carolina. They're just too inconsistent. Syracuse hasn't been great either, but at the Carrier Dome, I'll take the Orange to win that game. Army and Air Force.
I would love to pick Air Force. You know,
You would?
I love the scenery at Air Force in the
Oh,
mountains,
Colorado Springs. Yeah. Right.
but Army, like you said, I think it's got 1 or 2 losses. Air Force is struggling. Give me Army.
Yeah, I think Army. Just like the way Army looks. They run the ball, play defense. They're a better team right now. I'll take the not the Naval Academy, the Armal Academy. I'll take Army to win that one as well. Duke at
Actually,
Clemson. Hmm?
technically, they changed their name a couple years ago. They're now Army at West Point.
That's right. It is Army West Point. That's right.
Yeah.
It used to be the United States Military Academy or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah.
Duke at Clemson.
I'm going Duke. Duke still has a lot to play for. They're still in the mix for the ACC title. Clemson's not.
I've taken Clemson a few times this year. I'm kind of tired of it. So honestly, I'm over. Clemson's just not very good. I'm going to take Duke as well to win that game on the road. I think Duke's just better this year. Penn State at Ohio State. Probably don't need to spend a lot of time on this one.
Um, a month ago, I might have picked Penn State, but not anymore. I'm going Ohio State.
Yeah, well, months ago, Penn State may have been undefeated. Now they're 3-3. You're right, but and they have an interim coach. Buckeyes win this game. They usually beat Penn State anyway, but yeah, Ohio State will win that game. This is going to be interesting. I think Miami at SMU.
I think SMU rebounds. They saw their winning streak come to an end. They're playing at home. Like I said, this is probably an elimination game for either team.
Yeah, it's hard to believe Miami may be eliminated from the ACC race. But here's the other problem. Like I said, for Miami, they have not hit the road all year. I mean, other than going to FSU, and that to me isn't really a big deal either. So your first real road game of the year, the first time you leave the state, SMU, coming off a loss to Wake Forest, but I actually like SMU too. I'm gonna go with the Mustangs to win that game.
Well, and if not for a Hail Mary, they beat Wake Forest.
That's also true. That's also a good point. And they haven't lost. It was their first ACC loss since they joined the conference. Miami's coming in, again, after a bunch of home games. Navy at North Texas.
Huge game in the American, I think.
Yeah, American.
Both teams desperately need this win to stay in contention behind Memphis and South Florida.
Right.
I'm going Navy.
That's funny because I agree.
I think Navy limits North Texas possessions with their triple option, and they win a 27-21 type of game. I think.
Yeah, North Texas again. They could score a lot of points. They give up a lot of points. And yeah, I mean, I think so too. I think Navy's just a little tougher there. I know it's on the road, but I like Navy to win that game as well. Rutgers at Illinois.
Well, I've been burned by Illinois, but Rutgers
Same.
is not as good as Illinois.
Same, yeah.
So Illinois.
Yeah, I'm going with the Illini as well at home. Illinois is good enough to win this game, and I think they will. Vanderbilt at Texas. Okay, here, what do we got here?
Vandy is dandy. I'm going Vandy all the way.
Now, did you pick them last week or Missouri?
I did. I picked Vandy.
You did pick Vandy.
Okay.
It was like it's LSU. You picked LSU.
Correct.
I've been on that Vandy bandwagon last couple of weeks. This game is interesting though because going to Texas, it's not that Texas has been impressive though. I just wonder at what point does this kind of run out? They've been winning some home games. Vanderbilt has. I'll stick with Vandy. We'll stick with Vandy bandwagon. Arizona State at Iowa State.
Man, this is a tough one because Iowa State's lost 3 in a row. Arizona State's potentially starting Jeff Sims.
Again? Jeez.
Well, potentially. We don't, is there.
Sam Levitt got hurt. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going Cyclones.
God, these games, these aren't. This is a weird schedule this week. I like Arizona State. I do. I know it's on the road, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say Levitt plays and Arizona State wins this game.
Okay.
Um,
I think we both know the next game.
Louisville at Virginia Tech. Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, did we both pick Cal last week? I think we both did, even though it was at Virginia
Yeah, we
Tech.
did. We did.
Well, that Louisville's better than Cal. Go ahead.
Oh, I picked Louisville.
You got Louisville. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
Louisville as well. So the Cardinals to win that game. All right, here we go. Georgia, Florida. What do you got here, Corey? In Jacksonville.
Much as I would love to pick Florida to win this game,
Oh,
and,
what a game.
and I haven't trusted Georgia all year, but they find a way to win. Georgia.
Georgia. Okay. Not so fast, my friend. You know what? The Napier era is over. Thank goodness. I'm looking forward to this game. Looking forward to seeing this team play without this guy. It's an interim coach, which doesn't always help, but I think it will. I think Florida will be ready in this game. I haven't been picking Florida much. I picked them against Mississippi State, but other than that, I haven't really been picking them. But I'm going to take them this week. Give me the Gators. We'll have some differences here.
Okay.
Way.
Who's your daddy, Marty?
My daddy's Indiana. The Indiana Hoosiers are good. Indiana at Maryland. You can give me the Hoosiers there all day at Maryland. Pitt at Stanford. West Coast game, 3:30 start Eastern, 12:30 Pacific.
I don't think it matters. Pitt's got too much to play for.
I agree. Pitt wins this game. Stanford is maybe the worst team in the ACC this year. Although the next team might be the worst team in the ACC this year. Notre Dame at Boston College. I don't really need to spend a lot of time.
I think we're both going Irish there.
Yeah, Irish win that game, and they're big as their ACC schedule continues. Virginia at Cal. Now this will be a better game, I think. Cal's not bad.
Cal's unpredictable.
Virginia barely got past UNC on the road. I'm not totally convinced of how good Virginia is because they did lose to NC State, which, by the way, not an ACC game. It's funny how that actually helps them at this point because they're still unbeaten. But
it's a tough road for the Cavaliers because right after Cal, you got Wake at home. Then
Wake's not bad. At Duke, it's tough.
At Duke.
Virginia Tech's a rivalry game at home. But,
I'm going Virginia. I think they got too much to play for.
Yeah, I mean, I think Virginia is better, even though it's on the road. I'll take Virginia as well.
Okay.
Mississippi State at Arkansas.
As much as I would like to pick Bacon Bits, I got to go with Mississippi State.
Got to stop taking Bacon Bits because they're never win.
No, I'm not taking.
I took them last week with you too, and I'm. The problem is how Mississippi State just doesn't seem like they can ever win a game. But I actually think that this would be the week they win. I agree. I like Mississippi State is not a bad team. They just find ways to lose. So I like Mississippi State as well. South Carolina at Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Yeah, Rebels. Saturday night. Kentucky at Auburn.
Auburn.
Bottom of the ACC here. You like Auburn?
Auburn needs this win if he wants to keep his job.
So does Mark Stoops.
If he loses this game,
he's fired.
Auburn coach is fired.
Hugh Freeze is fired. Yeah, Mark Stoops is going to get fired anyway, and I think Kentucky's on their way to. I don't think they beat Florida next week either. I like Auburn to win that game too. USC at Nebraska.
Tough game.
Big Ten game.
It is at home. Nighttime game. I'm going SC. Because they'll be awake too. Because this game's going to be a 7:30 game, which means 4 o'clock, 4:30 West Coast. It's not a 12 o'clock game for them.
No.
And I've been impressed with SC. I mean, they've only lost to Notre Dame and
not so fast, my friend.
Illinois, I think, beat them.
USC? Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. At Illinois, they lost at Notre Dame. And I think they're going to lose at Nebraska because this is a game where they go to the middle of the country. Nebraska is good at home. And I like the Corn Huskers. Give me the Corn of Nebraska in this game. Um, Wake Forest at FSU. Hmm.
I've been riding the Demon Deacons all year. They have a really good team.
I think they are too. They should have beat Georgia Tech, and then they did beat SMU.
They have close losses.
Yeah,
Um,
and I think honestly, I think FSU is going this downhill. This season's
you're-
gone downhill. It's going to continue. I like WF Wake Forest as well. Georgia Tech at NC State. Show
we
the
already
yeah.
we already know where we're both going.
Yeah, we're the Georgia Tech homers. Going to keep on that bandwagon. Georgia Tech, that's a Saturday night game at NC State against the Wolfpack. NC State's really been struggling too. So, in fact, I think
But
they might
I am
fire their
concerned.
coach next week.
I am concerned about this game though. It's a nighttime game,
Yeah,
which means NC State will be fired up.
right.
Traditionally, NC State has played Tech really tough.
It's true. Last year they
Um,
played like an overtime or something, I think, in Atlanta.
I mean, this could be a trap game because you've got an off week, then Boston College, so maybe they won't be looking ahead because they do have an off week. Then you got Boston College,
Yeah.
so I still take Tech though.
Yeah, I mean, their last two games, Georgia Tech, are going to be tough. Pitt, obviously, is pretty good, although that's at home, and then they play Georgia in Atlanta, obviously, but not at Bobby Dodd Stadium. But yeah, I'm going with Tech. I think you're right. This is a game where you look at it because remember they nearly lost at Wake Forest. They had it. They've been Duke or tied going to the fourth quarter. So on the road is tough in the ACC, but I'll take Tech. Ooh, I like this game Saturday night. Oklahoma, Tennessee.
Well,
We got two more.
another elimination game. Losers done with the SEC.
Yep.
Tennessee is playing at home. Tennessee's lost to Alabama and Georgia, right? Yeah. Oklahoma lost to Texas. Was it Alabama?
No. They didn't play Alabama, did they? No, they lost to Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Just lost
Okay.
to Ole Miss and Texas, yeah.
I'm going Tennessee,
Tennessee lost to
Alabama, and Georgia.
Georgia, right. Uh, yeah, I think and Oklahoma has not looked quite as good in the last month as well. I think.
Well, I think Oklahoma rushed their quarterback too soon.
Yeah. That being said, they gave Ole Miss a game last week. That was at home. Tennessee can score. They can score a lot of points. Tennessee's a really good offensive team. Their defense is a little suspect. But, yeah, Saturday night in Knoxville. Give me the Vols to win that as well. Finally, Cincinnati at Utah.
You're playing at Rice Eccles, Kyle Whittingham.
Nice Eccles.
You know, it's been there a long time.
Yes.
Game day is going to be there. Utah's going to be fired up. Give me the Fighting Utes.
Yeah, Cincinnati's interesting. I don't think I would have considered them being undefeated at this point in the Big 12, but they are. But I think we've seen with Utah the last couple of weeks, they got blown out by Texas Tech, but they've come back. They beat Arizona State. They beat BYU. No, they didn't beat BYU.
No, they didn't beat. No,
it was close.
but
That was their other
that was
loss.
a close game. Yeah.
Yeah, at BYU. BYU's had a lot of close games, but I think, yeah, this is going to be I agree, a fired up atmosphere in Salt Lake. I'll take the Utes as well. A lot of
All right,
games.
we got three differences:
Just
Arizona State, Iowa State, Florida, Georgia, and Nebraska,
Florida, Georgia.
Southern Cal.
Yeah. Nebraska, so that's it? Wow. That's surprising. Yeah, I honestly thought about taking Texas and Miami, but, I think I like the way Vandy's playing, so we'll go with that. But, all right. So that's it for this week. Again, next week we will be back on Thursday. Next week, a special night again. Last week we're on Monday. This week back to normal. Next week Thursday because we're announcing the high school football playoffs for FHSA next week. So we will have our college show from 9 to 10 next Thursday night here at Beef O'Brady's in Stark. High school show will be 7:30 to 9 again next week. Then we'll be back to Wednesday the following week. I hope everybody enjoys the games. If you're in Stark, come on out to Beef O'Brady's here, located on US 301, right across from Bradford High School in beautiful downtown Stark, Florida. All right. For Corey Davis, I'm Marty Pallman saying so long and enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your football this weekend. Go. Oh, he picked Georgia, but he's going to go Gators. Hey, look at this.
Go Gators and go Tech.
Go Tech is right. Go Tech. He's got it. I got the Gator shirt on, so go Gators. All right, that's it. We'll talk to you next week. Good night. Well, there's a lot in the high school one too.
We went an hour 15 in high school. So.